I was 17 the night I saw it. This was back in December of 1966, right outside Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Small town. Nothing ever really happened here. People hunted, went to church, drank beer on the weekends. It wasn't exciting, but it was home. That night, my friend Kenny picked me up after dinner. He had just gotten his dad's old Chevy running again and wanted to break it in. I hopped in without asking where we were headed. We ended up taking back roads, gravel and dirt mostly, twisting between trees, past the river. Eventually we pulled off near the old TNT plant. It was this abandoned munitions factory from World War II, rusted tanks, busted out windows, miles of tunnels and brush. Locals said the place was haunted. Some said chemical spills made animals deformed. We didn't care. It was just a place to get high and talk trash. We parked and got out, walked around for a bit. It was cold, damn kind of cold, the kind that soaks into your shoes. The wind made the trees creak. I remember Kenny lighting a cigarette, his hands shaking slightly. I don't think he realized it, but I noticed. He said, "Don't you feel like it's too quiet out here?" He was right. No bugs, no owls, no distant dogs. Just wind and trees. Then I noticed something across the field. At first, I thought it was just part of the structure, a collapsed tower, maybe, but it moved. It stood up. This thing had to be 7 feet tall, maybe more. Wings, enormous wings folded up behind its back like a bat's. And the way it looked at us, no head turn, no blink, just those red eyes, glowing, burning, fixed right on us. We froze for maybe 5 seconds. Then Kenny dropped a cigarette and we bolted back to the car, slipping on wet leaves. He fumbled with the keys. I could hear behind us, not running, but moving. Then, I swear on everything, I heard wings, not flapping, not like a bird. It was heavier than that, like air shifting, pressing down. Kenny got the car started, floored it. Gravel kicked up behind us. I looked back to the rear window. It was following, not running, flying, gliding just above the trees, keeping pace with us. Its wings didn't move. Its body didn't bob or sway. It was smooth, like it was suspended, just drifting forward. Its eyes never left the car. We drove for miles back to town, right into the Circle K parking lot, and only then did it vanish. We didn't talk the rest of the night. I didn't sleep. Neither did he. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about those eyes. Not angry, not wild, just watching. 2 weeks later, the Silver Bridge collapsed. 46 people died. Some of them I knew personally. That's when the story started. Other people had seen it too. A tall, winged figure, red eyes, near the bridge, in the woods. At night, they called it the Mothman. Some said it caused the bridge to fall. Others said it came to warn us. I don't know which is worse. All I know is, I never went near that plant again. And sometimes, even now, I still see red when I close my eyes.
I used to take road trips to clear my head. Usually just me, my car, some podcasts, and the mountains. That year, fall 2019, I was going through a rough breakup. So I packed up and headed toward the Blue Ridge Parkway. One night, I pulled into a small trailhead lot near Linville Gorge. I had seen online that there was a spot called Wiseman's View, where you could overlook Brown Mountain. They say you can sometimes see strange lights out there. I figured I'd just camp nearby, hike up, and see for myself. I got there a little before sunset. The sky was this soft, orange-pink haze. Leaves were falling heavy, red, yellow, gold. The trail was quiet, the kind of quiet you feel in your chest. Not peaceful, more like emptied out. I brought a flashlight, but didn't need it at first. The light faded slowly. By the time I reached the overlook, it was just me and the dark. I remember looking out across the gorge. Miles of black ridges stretched out beneath me, the valley hidden by mist, stars just starting to show. And then I saw something. 2 small orbs of light, hovering low above the ridge, not high like stars, not moving like planes. They were pulsing, not blinking, pulsing like breath, one orange, one pale blue, hanging still in the air. I froze. There was no sound, no wind. The woods behind me were still, too still. I pulled out my phone to record, but the screen just showed darkness. The camera wouldn't focus. I remember tapping the screen over and over, and when I looked up, now there were 3 lights. The third one was closer, dimmer, flickering like it was fighting to stay lit. They started to move, not fast, more like drifting, parallel to the ridge. Then the third one blinked out. I stood there for maybe a minute, breathing heavy. Then something snapped in the trees behind me. I turned with my flashlight, nothing. But I swear, I felt something. Like I wasn't watching the lights anymore. They were watching me. I backed away slowly. But as I turned to leave, the 2 lights flared, brighter, like a camera flashed through fog. Then, gone. Not faded. Gone. I hiked back in silence. Every sound, twigs cracking, leaves brushing, made my skin crawl. It felt like someone was walking 10 feet behind me the whole way. I slept in my car that night with the doors locked and the flashlight in my hand. The next morning, I asked a ranger if people really saw stuff out there. He just said, "You saw the lights?" I nodded. He didn't smile, didn't act surprised. He just said, "You're lucky they stayed on the ridge."
I've always loved hiking alone. People think it's risky, and maybe it is, but there's something peaceful about being out there with no signal, no noise, just trees, rock, and sky. This happened in the fall of 2014 in Red River Gorge, Kentucky. I was a senior in college and drove up on a Saturday morning for a solo day hike. I parked near Auxier Ridge and planned a loop that would take about 5 hours. I brought water, my phone, and a backup headlamp, just in case. I wasn't stupid. I'd done this before. The trail was perfect. Orange leaves everywhere. Cool air, no one else around. By mid-afternoon, I'd reached the ridge. The view was unbelievable. Miles of layered hills fading into haze. I sat down to eat, listened to the wind. It felt like I had the whole forest to myself. That's the last part one remembered clearly, because the next thing I knew, I was walking on a different trail with my flashlight on. It was dark, and my phone said 7:41 p.m. I checked my GPS. I was almost 3 miles off my planned route. I don't remember getting up from that ridge. Don't remember walking. Nothing. I stopped and looked around. The forest was quiet, not the kind of peaceful quiet, more like emptied. Even the wind was gone, just the sound of my breathing. I tried to think rationally. Maybe I fell asleep, but I wasn't sore. My food was still in my bag, and my water hadn't been touched. And I've never sleepwalked in my life. That's when I noticed the smell. Not rot, not animal, just metallic, like pennies and ozone. Faint but sharp. I kept walking, flashlight flickering occasionally. Then I saw something ahead, something white just off the trail. It looked like fabric, like a tarp maybe, but as I got closer, it wasn't a tarp. It was a tent, a small, old canvas tent, white and red vertical stripes. Looked like something from a traveling circus 100 years ago. No markings, no cars, no fire, just standing there, alone in the trees. I called out, no answer. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds. Then I turned around. I didn't want to see who or what might answer. I didn't run. I walked fast and quiet. The trail felt longer than it should have, like it kept stretching. Eventually, I saw the reflection of my car's taillights in the distance. I climbed in and locked the doors. I didn't even drive away at first. I just sat there. Everything felt wrong, like I was still in something's shadow. I checked my phone again. No missed calls. No texts. No GPS movement recorded between 2:56 and 6:48. Just nothing. I tried to sleep that night, but my dreams were full of trees that moved and shadows that watched. I never went back to Red River Gorge, and I've never lost time like that again. But sometimes in certain woods, on certain trails, I swear I still smell metal in the air. I've hiked solo for years. Most of my friends think it's reckless, especially as a woman. But I'm not careless. I plan my routes, leave maps, pack backups. I've hiked in Utah, Colorado, even Alaska. But the only place that ever truly scared me was West Virginia. In late August of 2020, I went out for a 2-day loop in the Monongahela National Forest. Beautiful place. Quiet. I parked at the trailhead around 9 a.m., signed a logbook, and started the hike. Clear skies, early fall chill. Everything was normal. The first day was perfect. I made it to a small clearing where 2 trails intersect and set up camp. No cell signal. Of course. Just trees, birds, and distant water. As night fell, fog rolled in. I cooked, then zipped into my tent around 9 p.m. Around 1 a.m., I woke up. At first, I thought it was an animal. Leaves crunching, soft steps circling the tent. I held my breath, hand on my knife. Then I heard it. A voice. It was low, just outside the tent wall. And it said, "Aaron, that's my name." I froze. My blood went ice cold. I hadn't seen a single person all day. There was no one out there. No footsteps approaching. Just that voice. It whispered again. "Aaron." Same tone. Almost calm. Almost curious. I didn't move. Didn't unzip the tent. Just waited, heart pounding. I don't know how long I stayed like that. An hour? More? Eventually, I must have dozed off from pure exhaustion. When I woke up, it was daylight. Birds were chirping. Everything looked normal, except for the soft tracks in the dirt around my tent. No shoes. No boots. Bare feet. I packed fast. Didn't eat. Just hiked back as quick as I could. I passed the trail intersection, but something felt off. Branches broken across the path. A feeling in my chest like I was being watched. A mile from the parking lot, I saw something scratched into a tree. "Aaron." All caps. Fresh cuts in the bark. I didn't stop. I didn't take a photo. I just kept walking until I reached my car. I've never told anyone this in person. People always ask why I stopped hiking alone. I just say, things change. But the truth is, whatever was in that forest, it knew my name, and it waited until I was alone.